teaching. Yikes. Woo! Alright, YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to the two-wheeled teacher. That's me. I'm on two wheels and I teach stuff sometimes. Whoa. Sorry, just had to get that in a little bit. Ooh, when they sound good, you know what I mean? If you know, you know. So anyway, YouTube, welcome back to Motovlog number 2. If you're seeing this, that means Motovlog number 1 at least made its way to YouTube, which is something. You know, we gotta celebrate the little things sometimes. That's a little thing, we gonna celebrate that. We gonna celebrate that. Anyway, welcome back. This is one of those sort of obligatory motovlogs. I feel like everyone who ends up starting a motovlog channel has to do, you know, has to do that. How did I get into riding video? You know, because everyone's origin story is so diverse and interesting. And truth be told, a lot of our how I got started in riding, a lot of those videos go about the same. Mine probably won't be crazy unique, but I guess it's not entirely typical, right? So Haley and I moved down to Tallahassee for school, and at the time I had a car which was a lease. Now that probably seems like a funny option for a, you know, a 22, 23-year-old, hey buddy, to have a lease. Well, here's the thing, I was teaching and I was planning on staying in the town that I was teaching for several years. I had no intentions of going to grad school after just 2 years of teaching. Yikes. Woo! I don't know if you guys could hear that tire squeal, but this Honda in front of me, he just about took out the back of the Ford in front of him. Yikes. Long story short, because I wasn't planning on moving, I wasn't planning on going anywhere, all of a sudden those life plans got turned upside down, and before I knew it, I was getting moved. I was planning on moving down to Tallahassee, so we got down here and I saw, like, we noticed immediately people, especially college students, but even just non-students, a lot of people ride scooters around here, right? So I thought, okay, save myself some overage fees and all that BS, I'll just buy a scooter, use that as my commuter, and then I'll turn in my lease under miles and I'll just avoid having to spend a bunch of extra money. So that's exactly what I did. We had a scooter store block away from our apartment, so we I think we may have walked down to the scooter store, and I'm looking around, and it's nothing special, it's just a bunch of scooters, and I'm talking to the guy, he was real cool, and I test ride a little 50cc, and I'm like, you know, 26 miles an hour, tops. Well, I got this 150. I thought, hey, yeah, that would be cool, just like a quick scooter, so a little more zip. And he was like, just so you know, I can sell this to you, you can buy it, and you can leave with it. But if you get pulled over on it, it's technically a motorcycle. And if you don't have your motorcycle endorsement for the state of Florida, or just a motorcycle license, period, you know, worst comes to worst, it's technically an arrestable offense. Like, they could impound your scooter and take you away. And I was like, oh dang. So instead of not getting the scooter, I got the scooter, and then I also went and got my motorcycle endorsement like 2 weeks later. Because I figure, you know, what are the odds of getting pulled over on a scooter? Not very high, but I didn't want to risk it. And so I went and got my motorcycle endorsement. Cool, got my endorsement. I went and did, you know, my research online. I found a couple used bikes at a dealership in town, and I was like, hey, Haley, can I go look and maybe shop for a motorcycle. And she said those 4 words that many women have said and eventually regretted. She said, do whatever you want. Which, if you've heard that before, you know it does not mean do whatever you want. It means you can do as much as you think you can do without really, really pissing me off. Which was more than enough for me. So Haley came with me. We went to the dealership. We looked at a couple bikes, and in a matter of minutes, we found the bike that I wanted. It was a 2007 Harley Davidson Dyna Super Glide, and I was so stoked. You know, Haley saw it, and even Haley was like, that's a good looking bike. Haley was even down with the bike. And so the shopping took about 25 minutes. The buying process, my God, y'all. It was a Saturday. Dealership closed at 5. We showed up at 2. Showed up at 2, okay? So 3 hours. 3 hours of time to shop and buy. We left at 6 because the banking financing procedure took forever. But the sales team were super nice to us. This was at Red Hills Power Sports in Tallahassee. So if you're living in Tallahassee and you're looking for a bike dealer, Red Hills will hook you up if they've got the bike you're looking for. Let me tell you. Maybe. So anyway, 4 hours later, I rode it home, and oh my God, I knew from the first ride that, like, I hadn't just discovered a new way to get around. I had discovered a new part of myself, a new interest that I could feel in my bones that I was previously oblivious to. You gotta understand, you know, I got a scooter because it was convenient, right? I got my motorcycle endorsement because it felt necessary. I got a bike after that because it felt natural. And boy was it, let me tell you, it was so natural. It felt so good. I got home and I didn't know much about Harleys. I didn't know the difference between a Dyna and a Sportster and a Tour. I didn't know what anything was, but man, I dove right in. Watching videos, reading articles, reading reviews, watching reviews, riding all the time. And I very quickly figured out there's more to being a biker than just having a bike. You know, if I didn't have much money left over after I went and bought that motorcycle. You know, I was riding around with 2 or 3 sweatshirts on at night just to stay warm until I finally bought a cheap leather jacket off Amazon to help me at least keep warm at night. You know, and needed to buy a good helmet for myself. Got kind of a cheap helmet for myself. Got a helmet for Haley. Because, of course, part of the deal was, you know, if we get a bike, this is something we both do together. You know, we share the experience. This isn't just Mason's motorcycle. Which, needless to say, got gear for me, got gear for Haley, and then I wanted to ride. So I took 2 shortish, medium-length trips in the first few months that I had it. I bought it in October, and then my mother-in-law, Haley's mom, came down and visited around Thanksgiving. So just later that about a month later, and she wanted to go see some stuff. She hadn't been down here recently, and so we decided let's go to Savannah. So we go to Savannah, and I wanted to ride there. So I rode there, the ladies drove, and I loaded it up, and I got all my gear, and I took my first, you know, non-in-town trip. And I think that was, you know, a couple 100-odd miles one way. And it was so much fun. I learned so much about riding, about the machine, about being prepared, about being comfortable, and that was fun. Then a couple months later in February, I had a professional conference in Tampa. And I think Tampa for me was about I want to say around 4 hours one way. So not short, you know, but long enough that I stopped for gas maybe a couple times, and same thing, learned a lot. about the machine, learned a lot about interstate riding, and learned a lot about just how to make yourself comfortable on a bike for more than an hour. And those couple trips really helped my development as a new rider. And so I would definitely suggest that to anyone who has a bike that's built for trips at all. After you've put some miles under you, go take a trip. You know, go spend more than an hour on your bike. Go ride somewhere, and you'll learn a lot about yourself. Learn a lot about your machine, your bike. It'll be real good for you. So that's how I got into riding. It just sort of happened. It was this process that sort of started out of a sense of convenience and has ended up with me finding something that I talk about all the time, I do all the time, and I just love. So I'd be really interested to know how my getting into riding story compares to anyone else's. So, you know, drop me your story, leave me a comment. Let me know how you got started. Was it that much different than how I got started? Was it really different? Was it really, really similar? Do you feel like most riders get started in a somewhat similar fashion, or are there some pretty out there stories about how people get started? So that's all I got for you guys. That's how I got started in riding, and why it's such an important part of my daily life. If you stuck around this long, you might as well leave me a like, maybe hit subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought about the video, and if you've got ideas for more video topics in the future, let me know about that in the comments as well. But for now, I'm the two-wheel teacher. I'll see you on the road.